A big riser throughout the 2025 NFL draft process, Iowa State wide receiver Jaylin Noel looks firmly entrenched into day 2 of the 2025 NFL draft and probably in the second round. When you combine, that athleticism that he showed at the combine, plus what he showed at the Senior Bowl, right? And then you look at the production of film, you definitely see a player that is worthy of, at the very least, a top 64 selection, if not a top 51. So when you look at Jaylin Noel, right, 5'10 and a quarter, 194, the RAS, as we mentioned, off the charts is a 95th percentile 40, a 98th percentile vert, a 99th percentile broad jump for wide receivers, and then also putting up 23 reps on the bench, really, really impressive, along with the agility times, right? And when you look at the production, over 2.5 yards per route run in 2023 and 2024. The contested catch rate's actually pretty promising for a guy who's 5'10", 194. And you look at the pass rating when targeted, of course, but the yards per route run against zone, right, 3.51. That's really, really impressive. Yes, he has played the majority of his snaps in the slot when at Iowa State. And yes, maybe the production in terms of first downs per route run and first downs per target aren't quite at the level of his teammate, but I do think you see a very dynamic player, and we're going to illustrate that here on film. All right, guys, here we go into the film. I'm taking a look at Jaylin Noel. I think the biggest things to take away will be the footwork, the suddenness, and the explosiveness. And you're going to see it here on a couple comeback routes, right, where it's just the hip sync, the route break transitions are so efficient. And because they're so efficient and sharp, that the defenders sometimes are falling down. But here, another great example. Look at the hip sync, right? And just a really strong route break transition there on these comebackers. Hopefully, he gets to run a lot more of those at the next level. But it's a lot of throttle control, right, and pressure. And this is really impressive because the pressure he shows there, right, completely fools the defender. And again, this suddenness combined with the ability to work across the face of defenders is going to be a big deal, especially if he works out on the perimeter, right? And here, release and stem to the outside. And yeah, it's an RPO. But again, the defender doesn't know that until he's, Noel has crossed his face. So that's a good job through contact as well. And we're going to get into more about that a little bit later. This is the one, right? You've probably seen this one. And we'll run it through with the release and the vertical pressure and how good the route break transition, how well he flattens that out route. Just want to go through it one more time because it's so good. And so, again, square with the split release here initially. You see his head and shoulders kind of snap inside, and that's why the defender kind of stays flat-footed and kind of works out to two-hand jam. But he misses because, again, Noel set him up perfectly. Then you get that pressure. Defender's already turning for that, and how good that transition is and how flat the break is. And obviously going low to make that catch. Super good. Here, a good job fighting through contact to stack. And then really efficient on the outbreak, right? Like he has a lot of these. And again, pressure, work to stack the defender. So it opens up a lot of doors for you. And the defender's kind of reeling. And then how sharp that transition point is, again, getting defenders to fall because they're just maybe not expecting to see such a sharp break. And that plays into the favor of Noel. And here, quick release into the stem and then a little 45-degree break on the glance route. Throw is just very, very late. Again, the suddenness, widen that stem to be able to give yourself a bunch of access over the middle because the defender's going to retreat as long as you're stemming at him like he does there. And here, a nice job, maintaining the stem. Defender's going to drop in. They're changing from that two high shell to kind of one single high. So the defender's going to drop into the middle of the field. And because he continues to stem, on his line, the defender has to respect that and cheat over. And that's where you win, crossing his face over the middle of the field. So really, really nice there. This is good work through some top of route contact to kind of win that in-breaker as well. And then some outbreakers, right? Again, push off if you must, right? Lean through and to snap off that route break. Really, really nice there. If they're going to allow it, might as well do it. Again, stem at this defender. Opens up a ton of space for you on the outbreaker. It's really, really good with that. And again, same thing where it's vertical pressure, right? Stem, force the defender to cheat over, and then win on the outbreaker. Now, they perfectly trapped this coverage. So, but again, you see him attack leverage really well. and be a good route salesman at the same time, where he can win on a lot of these outbreaking routes because he's got good attention to detail on top of the suddenness. And here, again, I think another really, really good rep against Iowa, where because he stacks the defender has to respect that. And so you're going to get, he's going to take that momentum vertically with you, even with this too high shell, because again, with three players to the side, right, safety can only take one of them. And so this defender has to respect this vertical pressure, especially because now he's stacked. He's in the hip pocket. He didn't stop him in his tracks. And such a great outbreaking route, flattens it a little bit back to the line of scrimmage as well, and an easy win, right? And we'll run it through for you guys because it's so good. It's so good. And when you have that in your arsenal, it's tough to stop. Here, I think it's a really nice one where I think he's working to sell this fade route and just really good in transition, throttle control, a more precise throw. That's probably a touchdown. So yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of that. Really like what he can do sometimes fighting through contact at the top, on these curl routes, and then race back to the football, which is really good. You'll get this one against Miami where, again, it's hip sync, right? Good route depth, and in a perfect position where only he's going to catch this football. And good hand-eye coordination as the ball arrives pretty much as he breaks. And then again, with these curl routes, right, find the hole in the triangle of the zone. Really strong. I think his work against zone is obviously underrated. You don't get a lot of those where he's settling into kind of that triangle of the zone, but he does it at a pretty high level. And then the vertical stuff, right? He can just run by guys, and they don't seem to respect the 4.39 speed enough. And here is also just a tremendous adjustment to the football as well, right? He's moving this direction, but that adjustment, so good at the catch point, right? That gives you a lot of confidence as a quarterback, being able to throw it down the field. And again, yeah, when you're in single coverage, he's going to run away from you, right? And again, nice job surviving that contact as well. The slot fades, another one where if you don't get hands on him at all, like he will run by you. Here against Arizona State, same thing, where just no contact, a little bit of pressure on the release inside, and then he just runs straight by guys. And it's the same thing here on this post, where it's just the speed kind of can overwhelm a defense. And that's why he was able to create so many big plays. And it's not even just that. It's also the stem work, what he can do here. And obviously this hop release, and then he again, stems to the inside, works around the defender, and wins up the seam very, very easily. And you see him do that at a pretty high level from the slot. Again, square here, initiate contact. He's going to leave the screen, but the ability to stack very, very quickly, the urgency and burst that he has in the stem. And here, if you're going to, let him be able to work some tempo magic, he will. And against Kansas here, he does just that. Right? You see that little hesitation in the stem that freezes the defender for a moment. See that little hop. Where's he going to go? Is he going to work to the corner? Is he going to work over the middle? Obviously, this defender is going to cheat to the corner because he supposedly has help to the inside, but that little bit of uncertainty in the tempo, and if you're going to, the weak safety's not going to get there in time, well, it's an easy touchdown. So, again, that release and the burst that he can show, right? If you leave him one-on-one, he's probably going to stack the corner, especially if they don't get contact on him. And here, stem at the defender, and then work back across his face on the seam route. Like just threaten that leverage, right? Stem at him, give yourself options. If you throw that pressure step to the inside to win an outbreaker, if you throw the pressure step to the outside to win over the middle, like he does here, right? To be able to stem at defenders is so important, and Noel does a really good job of that. And here, look at that already. Turns the stem to the inside. That's where the defender is going to hop towards, and then just blow right by him because you threatened his leverage, and he disappears from the screen. But it's a big play there because really we're highlighting that ability to just show pressure late, to attack leverage. And here, same thing, where it's just subtle right at the defender there. And so he has to respect that, right? If you're going to try to win the fade down the field, cross the face, easy win on the post, catch through contact. It really is that simple here. Stem at the linebacker. Linebacker's going to cheat to the inside and then win up the seam. Really, really simple. And same thing here, right? Stem at the linebacker, give yourself a little bit of an opening past the second level defender. And because you're already stemmed at that direction with the safety, he's probably going to cheat to the outside, and there you go. And the ability to maintain that speed as he's transitioning, right? And again, obviously you can run away from guys, but in transition, right, when you're on that curvilinear path and kind of changing direction just slightly, he's so good in that regard. Here, really nice job attacking the catch point. I think he can be aggressive, right, when necessary. And here's a really nice one where he slows down, right? He doesn't keep running through. He does obeying the football and obviously just slightly working back and attacking the catch point to make sure he's the only one who has a chance to catch that football, right? And here, really nice catch through contact and concentration. You're going to see it where almost doesn't quite have this, right? But the ability of strong hands to hang on through contact is really, really good there. And sometimes, just obeying the football, balls behind him, just the ability to transition with that footwork is impressive, right? It is not easy necessarily to do this, but he makes it look easy, right? Gets that foot down immediately and attacks upfield. And same thing, right? Work back to catch the football, right? Race to the catch point, and to put your feet in the ground quickly and attack post catch is really good. And obviously with the explosiveness, right? What can you do? You can give him gadget stuff, right? On a lot of these reverses, right? The jet motion, all of that, he's going to be able to do that. And you can create mismatches in the backfield, right? Think about running, seam routes from the backfield as just an added layer of weaponry to your offense. Could be really, really good. There certainly are some concentration drops with Noel where he starts to peak upfield before the ball arrives. Again, just something to monitor. He does clap attack a little bit. You may have saw that on the Baylor clip where he made that big time adjustment. But this certainly happens from time to time where, again, just a little late getting the hands up. It's something you don't want to see. But again, I think his play through contact has proven that a little bit at the catch point. And here, just don't wait for the ball. Go attack because it lets defenders back in, and this is what can happen. And so where are the concerns with Noel? Really, it's more of like, is he going to play on the perimeter, right? Is the bigger corners with more arm length going to give him trouble? Like here, where he can't fight through to stack it all, and he's basically taken out of the play, right? Is stem contact going to be a problem for him, right, as well? Even if you have a corner with, longer arms in the slot, is that going to be an issue? Where corners can catch him at the top of routes and disrupt things. Like that is where Noel ran into the most trouble. And here, again, just sticking in the hip pocket, a really nice job. And again, he just doesn't really find a way to break away, even though he's trying his best at the break point. And when defenders have, initiated some contact, it's more difficult to get, some separation there. And here, just another catch technique where, again, he's just not big and super, super dominant physically to get off of this at the top of routes. So that's maybe the biggest question, right? And here, same thing where a good catch technique completely disrupts the outbreaker. So that is a big question. And then, of course, blocking on the perimeter. Is that going to be an issue for him? Because he's a little bit smaller. Those are the questions I think you have to ask. But overall, like what you see with Jaylin Noel is suddenness, explosiveness, impressive route running, both against zone coverage and man coverage, right? He can do all of that for you. The release game is so good. And when you have that suddenness, explosiveness, short area burst, it gives you that ability to win on a lot of routes, right? Win off the line of scrimmage, and also just rip through zone coverage with your speed. And Jaylin Noel, I think, is going to be very, very effective doing that at the next level. So hope you guys enjoyed this one, Jaylin Noel. If you did, throw a like down there. Subscribe if you're new. Plenty more draft content on the way very, very soon. I will catch you guys in the next video. Farewell.